What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on Unanchored by Ryan Schlutz. What is Unanchored? Unanchored is the newest release from Ryan Schlutz, who you may be familiar with. He has put out a lot of DVDs. He's got some books out. He has some downloads out. I think the most popular download that I've seen from him is the Pivotal Peak through Penguin Magic, which is also taught here. So just some of Ryan's previous releases that you may be familiar with. He also is the creator of False Anchors, both the work False Anchors and the decks. So you could be familiar with that if you're a card worker. Amazing decks. I'll probably review the False Anchor workers here as well. Not today, but great decks. So anyway, Unanchored. This is the collector's edition. There are two different editions. There's the standard, which is the book itself, and I think you also get you'll get a deck with it, but then the collector's edition, and we'll get in. Actually, I'll just tell you the price right now. The book itself with the deck is $75, and the collector's edition is $150. I'm already going to recommend the collector's edition because you get a lot, and what you get is unreal. So let's get into what you get. If you're getting the collector's edition, you get this magnetic case. It's a really nice case. I mean, if you want to display it, this is a nice piece to display. It's got like a kind of a fabric. I don't know. It's encased in a fabric. You have the foiled Unanchored logo here. Like I said, it's a magnetic case. So we open that up, and inside, with the collector's edition, you will have the two decks. I'll open those in a moment. You also have the Unanchored book. Now with the collector's edition, the book has a blue painted, I don't know, kind of a guild, but not really. It's a painted blue outside of the outline of the pages. I don't know. Anyway, and then you get the ribbon, which is nice because you don't need to keep a bookmark. I love when books have the ribbons. And the book is also covered in this fabric along with the foil, the blue foil. The book itself contains a ton of information. There's so many routines and effects involved in this. Most of it is close-up card magic, but there is also some amazing parlor effects, and then also some routines for small groups of people. The book is over 250 pages long, so a lot of content. It's actually 299 pages long, so basically 300. The illustrations and pictures in it are all very clear. Now I'll just kind of show you. There's some things I wanted to mention in the review. So all the pictures are numbered corresponding to the effect. So as you're reading, when it gives an example of a move or a display or some sort, it will say as seen in photo 94 or 95, and then it has the number of the photo so that you get the visual. So as far as the illustrations go, they work very, very well with what's written. All really nice pictures too. So that's always good. You know, they're not drawn, they're all photographed. So that's the book. Let's go over a little bit of the contents here. Oh, also, if you get the collector's edition, you will get, it's a signed and numbered copy. So this was one of the review copies that Ryan so generously sent me to review. So there are 250 of these that are going out, and then, yeah, he'll sign it for you. What else about the book? So now I should mention what's included in this book. So this is kind of the best of. This is Ryan's greatest hits, Magic Edition. But this is kind of the best of Ryan's work previous to False Anchors. So, like I said, Ryan's released other literature, DVDs, downloads, lectures, lecture notes. This is kind of a compilation of the best of all of those. So you won't find the False Anchors material in here. That's a separate project, but what you will find in here is all very, very good. I'm going to get more into that because outside of routines and effects, there are also ideas, principles, moves, some utilities, and things that you can do with any deck. So that's another thing that I should mention is nothing in here is specific to having one of these decks, right? You can do this with any deck. There are some routines in here that recommend a marked deck, but like there's very few that recommend a marked deck, but also they're not required. So if there is a gimmick or a special kind of deck that's recommended, Ryan also gives you alternate handling so that you can do this with a regular deck and in most cases even a borrowed deck. So that's awesome. He's really went above and beyond when it comes to the effects, because while a lot of creators will have effects that use gimmicks or special decks, there's some of that in here, but when I say he's went above and beyond, he's also come up with alternate handling so that you don't require anything outside of this book and a deck of cards. Okay, so I said I was going to read the table of contents. Let's do that. Introduction. Okay, so I'm not going to read through every trick. You can probably find that somewhere else, but just as far as close-up magic goes, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 23 close-up effects. There are 3 group effects. There are 4 parlor effects. And the parlor effect, and when it comes to the parlor, it's not all card magic either. There's some great stuff in there. And then there's a section called Arsenal, and that is different moves, utility moves. You got the Pivotal Peak in there. You have the Schlutz, which is the it's like a tongue twister, Schlutz switch that Ryan came up with. There's also something in there called a box switch, which is a really great utility move. And then there are a couple principles in this that I have done with all my decks of cards now. So it's not like you're permanently altering the cards, but there's just something that Ryan uses in a lot of his magic that I found to be extremely helpful and very deceptive. So he'll teach you a lot of different things in here outside of the routines themselves. So that is the book. Tons and tons of great content in here. There are some more things I want to mention that I have written down that I'll kind of go over that have to do with the contents, but while we're still on what you get, let's kind of keep going with that. So this here is the special deck that you get with the collector's edition. I'll go over that one next. Here is the Unanchored deck. So there's the back design. Nice tuck case. I believe these were designed by Solomon Weinstein. Nice cards. You got a couple jokers. You have your Ace of Spades with the Unanchored. Well, a different kind of logo. It's the Unanchored theme. We'll call it a theme because actually what's really neat here, and I really like this, is that every card has a pip that is kind of shattered, which is kind of the Unanchored theme. So you see, even if you go to the court cards, you got the one pip down there with the shattered look to it. You'll also get some gimmicks. So there are some gimmick cards in here. And then you'll get a duplicate, which is always nice because if you have, I do a fair bit of magic that uses duplicate cards. So if you have like a special deck of some sort, and I shouldn't even say special deck because there's really nothing hidden, or it's a regular deck of cards, but I just mean if you have like a different design deck, it can be hard to find duplicates. If you just have the one, it's impossible, right? So it's really nice that he's included a duplicate card. And then you have the gilded deck in the matte box. I almost didn't want to open these, but I thought, he sent these to me to review, so I'm going to open them. But anyway, the gild on this is super cool. So you got like a foil gild, but the way that it hits the light, like it'll either look almost like a flat, not flat, but like a solid blue, or as the light hits it, you get some greens and teals and all that in there. So really, really nice cards. I probably won't use these much. I will just have them to look at because they're really, really nice. And I don't want to, what do you call it? Wear the foil out. There's also a card in here that is a hand that has to do with one of the tricks. Again, you don't need this deck or that specific card to do it. You can also just use like a blank back deck and draw the hand on it. So that's what you get. So what's the quality? Now that I've shown you everything that you get, you've probably already seen that the quality is exceptional. It's amazing quality. The book, I don't think that the quality could be any higher. Like, it's about as good as it gets. The cards are great. I don't even know who printed the cards. Let's see. Created by Ryan, designed by Solomon, produced and distributed by False Anchors. So they're made in the USA. I don't know exactly by who, but if you want to kind of compare quality, like, they're as good as bicycle cards. I haven't handled them a ton, but they handle very well. They fan. I don't know, like, they're a pro deck of cards. And then quality within the contents, I'll get more into that as I do want to mention a few things. You get so much in this. So whether you're buying the collector's edition or the standard edition, I'd say both versions are well worth the price that they cost, definitely. Some questions I can't really answer because there's so much in here that you would almost have to answer every question specifically to every effect. So we're not going to do that, or we'll be here forever. But as far as like difficulty goes, there's something in here for everybody. So one thing that I really wanted to mention was that Ryan's creativity, some of the things, the principles and moves, and I don't know how else to describe it, but some of the things in here, so simple, but I thought, wow, who thinks of this? Like, how do you come up with some of these things that he's come up with? I just really blew me away. There are a lot of things in here that are just so clever that it makes you wonder, how did he stumble on this, or how did he stumble across this, right? And then the other thing I like is there's some really complex stuff in here. It's not hard to do, and it's not even like, when I say complex, I mean like the thinking that went into it. There was probably so much trial and error and thought that had to go into specific routines that I imagine some of these routines themselves took years and years to get to where they are here. But that's what I mean by complex, is like Ryan's done all the work for you. So you don't have to do the thinking. He's already done it. And honestly, as far as like card magic goes, the guy is absolutely brilliant. Is the contents working material? 100%. This is very unique card magic. So when Ryan sent me this, like, I do perform card magic. I'm not an expert by any means. I do use a lot of card magic in my strolling and kind of table hopping. So I do have experience in card magic, but I don't focus on card magic. So when I do card magic, it tends to be like Chicago Opener, Biddle Trick, ACR, certain things like that. The card magic that almost everybody does or starts out with. But reading the contents throughout this book, that really made me want to learn more. So before, I really didn't have a lot of interest in learning more than what I already knew. But now it's like I want to learn a lot more card magic, which is awesome because you can do so much with a deck of cards. And at the moment, I'm not doing a ton of stuff with a deck of cards. And, I don't think that card magic will become what I do the most of, but this definitely made me want to expand what I know. And also just reading through this and getting to understand Ryan's thinking. And well, I don't understand his thinking because I can't think that way. My brain would just, I don't know, melt. But in getting to know Ryan's work, now I'm going to eventually purchase the False Anchors book because everything in here is so good that I know that I'm not taking a risk in buying the False Anchors material because Ryan really, really came up with some amazing stuff here. So, yeah, there are some very, very clever and underused principles that Ryan has really utilized here to get the most out of some of the contents and these principles that you may have heard of before but don't use them. There's certain things in here that now, like I said, I'm using them with all my decks, right? And very outside of the box thinking, very unique material. And another thing that I really, really like about Ryan's work and is that he has really focused and made the effort to really include the participant. So they're participants, they're not spectators, they're not just watching you perform card magic, and you're not just trying to show off skill. So much of the content here is hands off when it comes to any kind of magic. When you're not having to touch the deck or something's happening in their hands, when they do the work or they experience the magic or they almost like make the magic happens, that's always stronger because how could it happen? You didn't do anything. And so much of what's in here is hands off. And then back to what I was saying, like so much interaction with your participant and involvement and participation that like that's one thing I really, really love. And then also within a lot of the routines, Ryan's developed them and designed them so that you can have fun with your participant and you can kind of get to know them. Like these, a lot of these may be card tricks, but they feel like so much more. Like you're giving your participants experiences, not just showing them some magic trick. So who would use this? Obviously, card magicians. If you are somebody who already performs card magic, I would highly recommend picking this up. The material is great, even though I'm not an advanced card magician. I would say I'm intermediate. Like I'm not a beginner, but I'm not advanced. There are definitely areas that I want to work on more to get better and improve, but I didn't find anything in here that I said I will never be able to do that, right? So um, who would use this? People who already perform card magic, people who want to expand their card magic arsenal. This isn't beginner, I'm going to go buy cards and learn my first magic trick material. But like I said, there's nothing in here that's overly advanced to do. And even the things that are a little bit more advanced, Ryan does an amazing job of really breaking things down, explaining them so that it's clear, and then also accompanying pictures to, like if you're reading a sentence and it's explaining something, there will also be a picture to show so you can visually see what things should look like. Outside of just kind of card magic, even though a lot of this still has to do with cards, there's some great mentalism in here, some really, really, really deceptive mentalism. And then one of the parlor routines, don't use cards. It's actually something that Ryan performed on his Penguin Live. All the parlor routines in here have an accompanying video file so that you can see a performance. And then if you have any of Ryan's previous work, like his At the Table lecture or Penguin Live, you'll get to see some of that's in here too. But with that, Ryan has kind of revamped a lot of that stuff. So stuff that you may have already seen before, he's improved or kind of upgraded. So you'll still get something out of this even if you own a lot of Ryan's previous work. Right now, as I'm recording this, it is the 25th of October. You can pre-order this right now from falseanchors.com. I imagine the collector's editions are going to fly out of there real soon. This will probably be available through all the major magic dealers. So pros and cons, positives and negatives. No negatives. You get so much. You're getting more than what you pay for easily. Everybody will find something they will use. Basically, when I read through this, now I just have to decide what I want to learn first. Audience participation, that's huge. So much hands-off material, that's huge. I don't know what else I can really say about this. Tons of pros. I'd get the collector's edition because it's so nice, and this having like a one-of-a-kind kind of package that's limited to 250. I'd say that's something that is worth it. I don't do a lot of card magic, so I probably would have never come across this if Ryan didn't offer me one for review, but I'm so glad he did because now I want to expand my card magic. With that, I think that I've covered everything that I really wanted to go over. Can't recommend this enough. Definitely such a great release. And with that, we will see you at the next review.